my name is Grace, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about the distinct gender roles and bias we see in classrooms today, and how we as educators can change that and improve the classroom altogether. Now, it is impossible to deny that the classroom is just a learning space for a particular subject. It isn't just about math. It isn't just about science or history. If a teacher leads correctly, it quickly becomes a community, a family, a home away from home. In the typical classroom, students learn how to interact with all types of different demographics and will learn lessons that will stay with them throughout the course of their lives. Now, what would happen if we were to interrupt this basic feature of a school, to separate boys and girls? Now, I know that same-sex schools are not some kind of hidden secret or mystery. They do exist. I have like 12 of them in my county. But I wanted to know if they really had an impact on these kids. Now, I actually was interested or thrown into this because of an experience I had in political science. I was in a classroom, and I'm not usually one to jump into the politics talk, but that day we were talking about science, about deforestation, pollution, climate change, everything like that. And I was like, yes, finally, I know what I'm talking about right here, the biologist. I've got this. We were just talking about it. Give it to me. And I raised my hand. And I raised my hand, and I kept raising my hand, and then about 5 minutes, said, you know what? Nope, it's not worth it. The boys were dominating the conversation. And not to say that was a bad thing. They kind of had an idea of what they were saying, but not one girl got a word in that day. Luckily, it rolled over into the next class, and as we were talking about it, me and this girl had finally gotten to say something, and we were bouncing off each other, and we were excited because we knew, and this was our opportunity to say something, and a guy spoke up from the back and said, hey, you girls don't know what you're talking about. It's not worth it. Stop talking. And I was infuriated, to say the least. Now, I know maybe he just didn't like our opinion, he didn't like our point of view, but the fact that they had talked the entire time last period, and the first opportunity the girls got to say something, there was no respect. I was angry. I was totally upset. So I decided to look into same-sex education. I thought, would it be different if I was in a school where only girls were allowed to be there, where we would be bouncing off of one another, and I would be able to feel comfortable talking about my different views in politics and science, and not feel belittled, not feel disrespected in any way, shape, or form? Would my life have been better? Would I be more advanced? So I decided to turn to every U.S. department in education, every state, every Canadian one, every European one, anywhere and anything that told me the differences between same-sex and co-ed education. I was there, researching it, studying it, looking into it, wondering, if I want to be a teacher when I grow up, would it be better if I was centered around a same-sex school? Would that be benefiting my students? And you know what I found? Research after research after research, experimental study after experimental study after experimental study, and they told me nothing. That's right, absolutely nothing. For every one research project that said, kids will do great, the boys learn how to be respectable, the boys learn how to love theater and arts and they're not ashamed, and the girls will go into STEM and they'll feel more confident in their answers and talking in class discussion. For every one of those, there was another one that said, if you separate them, they will lose respect for the other gender. They'll be sexist. They'll be respectful, anything, and you do not want to separate them because they will be awkward around the opposite sex. They won't know how to work with them when they grow up. So that's what I was seeing. Everything was different, and I was confused, and I wondered, why in the world is there no magical answer? And then it hit me. There isn't a magical answer. There isn't one way, because there isn't just one student. You aren't teaching the same kid over and over again. So if you came into this video or came into this class thinking, yes, tell me, what is the magical scroll? What is the answer above all answers? I'm here to tell you that the answer is that there is no answer. Now I know, stay with me. There is no answer. And that is the great thing. If I were to tell you one way to teach, one thing that I said would work for every single student, and you were to apply that year after year after year, the same method, the same ideas, the same process, you would be bored. You would lose the passion and therefore lose your students in the process. So when it comes to education and when it comes to questions like these, I'm here to say that yes, same-sex education, same-sex ideas in schools could help one student, and then it could totally hurt another. For me, I think it would definitely have hurt me. But when you realize that as a teacher, that there is no answer, there is no one way, that is the beauty of it. That is the amazing thing about our field, is that there is not just one way. There isn't just one process. You get to develop your own. You get to do your own thing. And I could go on and on about that. I could go on and on about every idea there. But I'm going to wrap it up, obviously. So down below, I linked some of the U.S. departments that did, or not just the U.S., but the different departments of education that went into this type of research and what I found that you can look into if you want to. I'm saying it's definitely something you should be open to, but not something that is set in stone and the only way. I also linked all of my resources down below, and if you would like to reach out to me to talk about this topic more, I'd love to hear your opinion. I'd love to hear your ideas. As an educator, I think we should always be open to this kind of stuff and constantly be evolving, or else we will lose these kids. So thank you.